Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock, and this is City of Villains on the Rebirth server. We are with Nightmare Lass, our level 39 Mastermind, who has 7.5 million XP, 800,000 to go to get to level 40, and 120 million infamy left, because I just purchased one of these, so we now have 3 Mark of Supremacy Mastermind items, and we need 3 more, so it's going to be another 75 million influence to get those. We can only do them every once a week or something. So I just figured I'll just start getting them now, and then once we have them all, we'll slot them into something. Um, that's going to leave us with only about 40 million, 45 million infamy to go once we've purchased all these, but it doesn't really matter because I'm not really spending it on much of anything else. Right now we have almost all of our powers in invention enhancements. Mostly generic inventions, most of them in the 30s, but that's okay. It's fine. This is perfectly usable till the end of the game. I guess Mark of Supremacy will go in here, and what I'm going to do is unslot these, but keep them. Put Mark of Supremacy in here and make sure that it is buffing both damage and resistance, because I want resistance on, what is it, Larry and Moe. Okay. And then I don't know what we're going to do for this guy, because I really want the hold duration on him, because hold is the most important thing that Curly does. Everything else is invention enhanced except the health and a couple of stamina. 1 stamina and 3 health. So we basically need 4 here and 1, 2 here. This is going to be a defense debuff. And we've got all the invention enhancements we need. Now at level 40 we're going to get 3 more slots, and I'm not sure I'm going to put those yet. But in any case, I think we're doing pretty well, and we're not going to need the money, so we may as well go ahead and buy this other set, and then we'll have 2 sets on our character. I do have a couple of other recipes that I want to eventually make. I do want to get preventative medicine potentially. We don't need Red Fortune Decimation. We don't need, so these things I can sell, but I want to get preventive medicine. I also have a Doctored Wounds back in the base, and so what I'm suspecting I'm going to do is Doctor Wounds on one, preventive medicine on the other, unless I decide that I want to double up one of them, and I don't think I will. I think I'm going to want to make one of each, because they do different buffs, and I prefer to be a generalist and spread them around rather than focusing on one particular thing. Especially when you're soloing, I feel like it's better to be more of a jack of all trades rather than be super focused. Although, if you notice, I didn't do that with my Scrapper, Silver Phoenix. And the reason for that is that the Scrapper really needs to just be pounding damage. On the other hand, I did also really do a good job with her defense. It's just that her defense only did one thing, which was reflexes, right? Dodge. Alright, so we are on a story arc for Technician Naylor, and he's pretty far away, but we should be able to teleport to him. He says, Nightmare Lass, we got trouble at Mo Point Bravo. The place is being overrun. The heroes are back, but that ain't it. These creatures called the Rularu, they're everywhere. I got my orders from Recluse himself. That portal needs to be shut down and the base evacuated. But the Rularu have trapped the base commander, and only he can do it. I need someone to go get him. So we got to do a rescue mission now to get the base commander out of there. So let's go ahead and teleport to the mission door, since we're pretty far from there. And then assuming the story arc continues, and this isn't the end of it, we will be right there at the portal to go through the next mission as well. Alright, so let's go through. I'm going to actually turn invisible and go through, because I'm not sure whether we're going to be doing a lot of exterior stuff or what, and I don't know what our goals are going to be besides rescuing Rimsey. So let's go in here and see what there is to see. Strange and natural feel. Okay, so there's some Rularu right there. So I guess we're going to have to pull our buddies out. I mean, we could go past them, but we're going to have to come and probably bring him back anyway. So let's go get our buddies, because we're probably going to have to lead Rimsey out. Oh, I hope we don't have to lead him out through different fragments of the Shadow Shard, because that just would be a disaster. And NPCs are bad enough walking through hallways. Come on, let me select you, Curly. There we go. Buff, buff, buff. And off we go. Kill. Let's see how we do against the Rillaru. We have not fought them before with this character. We haven't fought the eyeballs yet. The eyeballs, if I remember right, I'm trying to remember now. I think the eyeballs are super accurate. That probably won't be a big issue for us because our minions don't rely on defense anyway. They rely on resistance. Either that or they fire something that's unresistible. I can't remember. And there are the eyeballs. Well, let's fight them. Let's see how we do. What'll be interesting is to teleport an eyeball. Let's see if we can do that. Let's just do that for fun, because I don't know how easy these... Oh, well, we started a battle. Okay. These guys, of course, kind of remind one of a Beholder from D&D. Although Beholder is lots of small eyes rather than one big eye. I really like these guys. They're really interesting, the Watchers. In my old supergroup, the Daybreak Initiative, they used to roleplay that they had one of these things trapped inside this spherical object that was in the middle of the base. It was just pretty interesting. We just had to rescue Rimsey. Once Curly is back here on his summon, I might just go find Rimsey and then come back. I wish I could leave these guys here and they wouldn't come after me. But what I want to do is find him and then figure out what the path is to him and then clear the path. I don't want to go all over the place with my guys. It's just such a time sink. But it seems like the Rillaru are no problem. And I am going to go ahead and start burning some of these. I've sort of decided that what I really want is defense, accuracy, and resistance more than anything else. It's not the amount of damage that I want my minions doing when we need a buff. It's the hitting, especially Curly needs to hit so that he can apply his ice block, his entangle, and the other two guys, I think it's Larry and Meanie, that do the ice also need to hit because they do slows. And that actually is more important than them just doing physical damage. I like fighting these eyeballs. They are cool. I feel like because Beholders are such terrifying, scary creatures in the mid-level range in D&D, and like when I was a kid, basically, I mean, I think they were even more powerful when I was a kid, but pretty much they're one of the most, there's the boss. They're one of the most powerful creatures that the average game group fights along with dragons. There are things way more powerful than they are, but most of those things you need to be like 20th level, 18th level to fight them, and the vast majority of game groups never get to that level. We're going to try going around here because I'm not sure if my minions are going to be able to navigate this and get up. So let's see if we can go around. We're going to have to do that anyway, I guess, huh? Is that Rimsey? Oh, no, that's a Longbow Warden. I thought that was Rimsey. Okay. Is this Rimsey over here? We don't need to fight the Warden. Nope, they're just more longbows. Okay. Alright, well, I'm going to kill these guys, and then we'll fight the boss, and then I will go look for Rimsey. So yeah, what happened in a lot of times in D&D was the Beholder wasn't the most powerful creature in the game. I mean, they had gods and stuff that you could technically fight, but for many campaigns, the Beholder is realistically the most powerful enemy you're going to fight, or on par with the most powerful enemies you're going to fight. And so I always felt like the Rillaru Watchers should be like bosses or something. They should be more powerful. As you can see, they're nothing, right? Even +1 to us, yeah, whatever, who cares? Okay, so there's a Spec Ops. So we're going to want to teleport him. Let's go ahead and beef up these guys, because it's going to be... By the time we find Rimsey, this stuff should recharge, I hope. Oh, is that Rimsey? No, that's just a Mew Guardian. What happened to the Spec Ops? Did he disappear? Alright, well, I guess we're going to just attack. And I'm going to use this to guide them so that they go to the right place. There's the Spec Ops. Alright, take the Spec Ops out first. Yeah, this is going to be a pain in the neck battle because my guys are not going to get up onto the rock crop properly, which means we're divided. You know, they're not teaming up the way they should. Curly's getting his butt kicked. But we're doing alright. It's not ideal, because the AI has a hard time climbing up. Let the battle begin. You gonna follow me now? Well, you can die. I don't care. Alright, so I'm going to... We're going to kill these two, and then I am going to fly away, and I don't care what happens to the Mew. I mean, I guess he's supposed to help us theoretically, but who gives a damn? Alright, so I'm going to go invisible, and we'll see if we can find Rimsey. And the Mew's flying around with me. Well, don't aggro anything, you moron. If you do, you're on your own. Is that him? No. Okay. So now I gotta stay high up enough that this idiot doesn't aggro things. And this looks like Rimsey. Toxic Tarantula. A Warden. So that's just another guy. Did the eyeball see me? Shouldn't have. I don't know, maybe they can see through invisibility. There's Rimsey. Okay, so we're going to start over here and work our way down, right? Because I want it nice and clear. Let's resummon. Oh, I can't. Hang on. Get off my stealth. What are you doing? Mew. So while we do this, because we're going to have to do some clearing, and this part will be a little bit, you know, mind-numbing, I guess, especially against yellow cons. One of the things I wanted to do was talk a little bit again about my blatherings concerning soloing a role-playing game like D&D. I've kind of resolved to do it. Now, whether I'm going to record it or not, I don't know, but I'm probably going to do it. And at this point, I'm very close to deciding to do Ironsworn, which is not D&D. It is a grim fantasy role-playing game, kind of grim. I mean, it's basically like a low fantasy world rather than being grim. And it's got a very descriptive, qualitative, abstract system. Not 100% sure I'm going to like it, which is one reason I would hesitate to record it and post it, unless it's with the absolute understanding by the audience that it may not go anywhere and they shouldn't be disappointed if I stop after 2 or 3 episodes. It's not like D&D, right? In Dungeons and Dragons, in this game, everything is very literal and quantitative. You do 50 damage. You have an 80% chance to hit. You are 300 meters from the enemy, right? And D&D is the same way. You roll on a die for hit. You roll on a die for damage. You know what alignment your character is. You know how many feet they can move per turn. You know how far they are from their enemy and what the range is to hit and what the penalties are for the long range modifier and things like this. The Ironsworn system is based on some other kind of a system, some kind of a system called something Apocalypse. I can't remember now. Path of Apocalypse or something. But it's a much more descriptive, sort of a narrative. They used to call these like story games, and so the idea is you just say, you know, I'm going to begin combat, and you find out you like have an advantage, and then you role play. You describe what that advantage is, and so let's see. I want to clear these guys out too. So it's not as literal, it's not as quantitative, and since I'm a very literal person when I play role-playing games, I'm not 100% sure how much I'm going to like it. I've watched some Let's Plays of it. I think they're really interesting. One of the ones I watched was great because the guy was doing all this narrative story with it and stuff, and it was really cool. However, another one that I watched, although the person started out doing that, he got really caught up in the mechanics of rolling the dice and making the quote unquote moves, and um, and he stopped really narrating it. So he started just saying, "Oh well, I've suffered a cost. All right, well I'll drop one supply. Oh, I've suffered another cost. Okay, I'll drop one health," rather than saying, "Ah, my bag tears and all my iron rations fall out." One supply goes down. You see, and so to me, if you're not going to make that stuff up, there's no point to doing a system that's that abstract. You may as well do the literal things. And so I'm not sure how I'm going to like it. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to keep up all of the narrative stuff. Um, I think that I'll be able to do it at first, but the question is, am I going to be able to sustain it? Whether I record it or not, right? The recording is kind of secondary. I do think I would want to record it somehow, if not like this, right? I would want to record it by writing and maybe like write a story, like actually turn it into a novel. And in fact, I think there are novel writing systems that are similar to this, where you write a story based on like die rolls, I guess. We found him, and now we're being ambushed. Okay, go get him. Alright, so we need to take him to the computer. So we're going to have to keep Rimsey with us. Oh. Yeah, these guys, my guys, are super helpful, because when an ambush just appears like that, I probably wouldn't have noticed it, but they notice it, and they start attacking. Yep, there's another ambush. You notice it just spawned there. So yeah, I'm pretty sure there are systems for being like a writer, where again, in other words, what you do is you roll on the fate chart, or something like that. And there's a fate system that is like this as well. And the mythic system is like this as well, where you just roll, and it says you suffer a setback. And so like the character is in a car chasing somebody, trying to catch a kidnapper. And you've established that for earlier in the story, and then you roll the dice and it says suffer a setback. So then you say, okay, what would happen? Right, the tire blows out and the car goes out of control, and he crashes into a telephone pole and he bangs his head on the steering wheel and loses the kidnapper. And then you roll again to see, well, what happens next, right? Like, so he gets out of the car and he looks to see if is there a spare in the trunk, and you roll. And you say there's a 50-50 chance that there's a spare in the trunk, and you roll it isn't. So he opens up the trunk and you go, oh, darn, there's no spare. And you pretty much is like stream of consciousness or seat of the pants writing. And that's kind of what the Ironsworn system reminds me of as well. That's kind of how it works. And it's also how the Mythic system works pretty much. And so the idea is that you can generate a really cool story by using these random prompts and then role-playing, okay, what do I think is going to be the response that this character has to the fact that this negative thing just happened to them, or this positive thing just happened to them. They're going to take on this boss here. I'm going to debuff him. Let's make sure we kill the eagle first. I didn't notice that she was there. Oh, there's a couple of them. This is bad. Now we got the Rularu aggroed as well. And Operative Rimsey is taking damage. That's bad. See if I can heal him. Good. We should have the Warden beaten. So, I mean, it's not super different from regular roleplay, right? If you think about it, like, you're playing D&D, and you, are you coming? You're playing D&D, and you roll to hit on the chart, and you miss, and then the DM, somebody narrates the miss, and you have to react to the fact that you missed, which is going to be a different reaction from what you would do, or how you'd react, and what you would say, what your character would do if you hit, right? My players in the last session, they fought these Slod. They don't know they're called Slodai yet. I think The experienced players probably know, but the inexperienced player doesn't. And it wouldn't mean anything to her if you told her they were slot eye. So they fought a blue slot. A red slot heard it and came to help. So they fought this. They saw this blue slot alone. They knew there was a red one around, but they didn't know where it was. And they made this surprise attack on the blue slot. And so the longbow are fighting with the Rilaru? Okay, well, that's fine. And so they tried to catch it unawares. They did. They did a lot of damage to it, but it cried out in pain. And then the next round, when they had it almost dead, a red one showed up, and they were like, "Oh crap!" Right? And they reacted differently to the scene from how they would have reacted if the blue one had been alone and they had just finished killing it. And then in the next round, they saw a green one look out from another room, smile at them, and then disappear. So they knew it was there, right? And they reacted very differently to the fact that that green one was there. It disappeared. They defeated the red one. They wanted to question them, but instead they said, we're going to flee back into the sewers, right? Because they were afraid the green one was around and was going to attack them. And then on their way into the sewers, they had to go through this door, and the green one was actually there, and one of them bunked into it and fell backwards. And I said, this green one appears, and they were like, oh crap, and then they did something else, right? Something they wouldn't have done if the green one hadn't been there. And so, where are we going here? We got to go around, right? And so, this is very similar. Oh, is he lost? This is very similar to how, you coming, Rimsey? This is very similar to how Ironsworn works. It's just without the numbers. So, again, I don't know how I'm going to like it. I used to love what were called consent mushes, consent muxes back in the day. I played for years on a consent-based mux called Superheroes Mux. I eventually became an admin there and everything. And it was super awesome. And there was no statistics. Your character was a set of paragraphs, descriptions, right? Your list of powers. You just wrote the descriptions out and got them approved. And then when you played with people, I would just role play. My character comes up to you and takes a swing, and then you would say, all right, my character tries to dodge out of the way but gets hit. And people just made up the story as they went. And I had a lot of fun with that. So I might enjoy that with Ironsworn as well. I'm just not sure. Are you going to come in here, Rimsey? Okay, I know what's happening. The minions are in the way, so I'm going to dismiss them. And that should let Rimsey come in. Come to the computer. Mission complete, and we got a reward merit, so that should be the end of this story arc, guys. I'll say, so we have now evacuated and shut down the base, and we'll see what Operative Naylor, or Technician Naylor, has to say to me. We got an enhancement. We got enhanced range. Who cares? Good one. We nearly got everybody out. I don't think I won't be letting Lord Recluse himself hear about this in me report. All right, so that's his story arc, but he does have more missions, and I think we're going to just go ahead and finish him up. And maybe he'll give us a second story arc. Some of these guys have been doing that in this zone, where they do one short story arc, and I'm like, that's it. And then you do a mission or two for them, and you get another story arc. So we'll try. If not, we'll do one more mission this episode. If it doesn't get us into a story arc, then that'll be it for these videos, and I will bring you back when we're level 40. He says, I pulled in some favors, and we're giving you another go. I think I got the hang of how this portal thingy works, and this time we're going to test it out for real with the coordinates you got from the Nemesis army. So this is like a continuation. It'll be rough. You better bring some friends. I have lots of friends, built-in friends. They're called demons. I'm really glad to be working with you again. All right, the first one up should be lots of fun. We got some strange readings from a nearby alternate world. According to the Nemesis army, it's in danger of falling to the devouring earth, and the Eros are trying to help stop that from happening. Okay, so... oh, no, I don't need this door. Goodbye. I'm going to go on through. And Oh boy, catch the longbow commander. All right, so this is going to be interesting because he could be anywhere, and I think we're gonna squirrel this or whatever you call it. We're gonna cheat. I'm gonna go try to find him and see if we can just get him. My concern, there he is. My concern is well, if we go the long way, no, it's not the commander. My concern is if we start fighting, if I don't watch for him, that he's going to like just get killed, but I don't know if we can summon fast enough to save him either. Man, this is a huge zone. Lots of DE. Wow. I thought this was that zone where you just have that central area. Is that him? That's the elite boss. Okay. I think corner. Oh man, I want to kill the guys on both sides. I'm not going to be able to, it's going to be very hard to do that without aggroing him. What if we summon up on the rooftop here? Oh, we can't get to the rooftop. How about this rooftop? Summon up on the rooftop. I think we go down, we take these guys out. I send them back up to the rooftop. And then we come around this way and attack over there. So that we've cleared everything. In fact, what am I doing? I can just bring them up to me, right? Let's try. My idiot minions are probably going to fall off the roof, but that's alright. So yeah, as we're doing this, one of the things I really like about Ironsworn is the world and the way the guy has set it up. Your character makes a vow of iron, because iron is this really sort of important and mystical metal in the world, and you swear iron to do something, and you gain experience points by completing vows. I actually think that this would probably be a really cool motif even for a D&D game, right? Where you gain a level every time you complete a vow or something like that. That would be really cool. And I've actually got, I actually think that, you see, one of them fell down and is stuck now. Who is that? Meanie, I'm just going to desummon you. And resummon. Idiot. And I'm not going to worry about buffing him right now. Let's just take the Devouring Earth out. Yep, that's going to be a problem if they keep falling down. Now Curly's down there. Alright, we're going to have to go down, guys. Go down. And let's rebuff so that Meanie or whoever can get buffed. And now summon a DE. So yeah, I mean, I actually think that I think I would love to run a campaign in the world of Ironsworn, the Ironlands. I don't know if any players would like to play in it, but I would love to run a campaign in that land, in that world. I think it would be really cool. But you'd have to be the sort of player who doesn't mind that it's a low magic world. Like, I would probably have to ban things like bards and sorcerers as inappropriate to the setting. Maybe the magicians would be like warlocks and druids. I don't know if I'd even allow wizards. Right, the warlocks like have a patron, so I could kind of see that, and maybe druids. flashy spells like clerical spells and stuff I don't think really work. Can I get this guy? Come on. Out of range. Alright, you guys stay here. Get a little closer. Okay, and see if I can teleport him to there. Can we do it? Looks like it. Excellent. So yeah, you'd have to like do a lot of differences instead of. There's no real currency in the game, but I think if I did it, I would have currency. I would have like wood pieces, bronze pieces, and iron pieces. Steel would be like this big deal, even bigger than iron, because steel is obviously an improved version of iron. I think that it would be really cool. The world is mostly made up. The player characters would pretty much have to be human. There are elves. There are no dwarves. There are no halflings. There are no gnomes. There are giants. And I would probably, I mean, you don't have to keep that. You could use the monster manual from D&D, but I would probably keep it because it's different and interesting. I would, like they have these things called the Varu that are like, kind of like werewolves, and I would probably use something like the stat blocks for, say, Tabaxi maybe, or Dragonborn or something to stand in for the Varu. I think that would be really cool. So yeah, I think it's a neat world. I'm not sure how I'm going to like, again, using the actual game mechanics, but I do think it's a really interesting and potentially very fun world. All right, we're just going to dive in. And I'm going to hit the debuff, and then we're going to get him. And we're going to just do the best we can. Curly, you need a buff there. And then I've got to just heal as much as I can heal. Let's give Mo a buff. And I got to up the Mez defense on these guys. Is Curly stuck? Don't be stuck. And you see, this is why I tried to fight the guys in this corner, because I figured he might run. And the slow is helping us. If it weren't for that, this guy would be trying to get out of this zone, I bet. And we would be fighting everybody in the zone. But because we have the slow, and the nice thing about the slow, and now he's held. The nice thing about the slow is that when they're being slowed, they try to like run out of it, and they don't do as many attacks. So it messes with the AI. Caught him again. Very nice job, Curly. It's only holding him for a second, but that is awesome. And he's really slowed, which is great. Love it. My guys are kicking his butt. Ouch, that hurt. So that's an Omega Strike, right? He does it at the end when he's hurt. That's an if-then statement. If you're at 1/4 hit points or whatever, do this AoE. Let's give Curly another 2-hit buff. We just want to make sure we hit it. He hits. And I'm tabbing to make sure there's nobody else around, but it doesn't look like there is. And who just got hurt? Larry. Let's give you some help. Now he's going to make it harder for my guys because they're going to have to hop over the fence. He might have another Omega Strike in him. So I guess the first one wouldn't be the actual Omega Strike, right? It would be, I don't know, a new strike. Psi Strike. Phi Strike, I don't know. Got him! And that completes the mission, guys. Clue. These orders are in code. And we're on another story arc, which is great. Let's head out. We're a half hour in, so I think we're going to stop here. We'll talk to Naylor. And he says, we were monitoring that whole thing. What happened with the Nemesis army? They were all chummy with you for some reason. That can't be good. What? I don't remember them being chummy with me. Still, you got the intel, and that's what really matters. Of course, we skipped a lot of the content, so maybe there was Nemesis in there, but I didn't see any. All right, guys, we're done here with this particular mission. Got some enhancements. Nothing special. Um, I'm getting close to the salvage max again. So we're going to have to invent some recipes or get another salvage rack. But that's for another time. Until next time, I am Scarperlock, and this has been City of Villains.